covering West Michigan to protect and alert you. We begin with breaking news right now.
Look what happened.
A horrific scene this evening in Pennsylvania as shots rang out at former President Donald Trump's rally only moments after he began speaking. Screams followed as the Secret Service rushed him off the stage with blood on his right ear. He held up a fist as he was rushed to a motorcade. Law enforcement officials say the shooter was outside Trump's rally and was killed by U.S. Secret Service, but not before firing off several shots. According to officials, a rally attendee was also killed and 2 more were critically injured. The identity of the shooter has not been announced. An Associated Press source says an AR-style rifle was recovered at the scene. Law enforcement officials say it's being actively investigated as an attempted assassination. This appears to be the first assassination attempt since Ronald Reagan was shot in 1981. CBS is reporting that former President Trump is out of the hospital. Trump himself posted on Truth Social 3 hours after the incident, thanking law enforcement and the Secret Service. He extended his condolences to the victim who lost their life and another who was wounded. He says he was shot in the upper part of his right ear. He ended his post with, quote, "God bless America." President Joe Biden sent out a statement after the incident saying, quote, "I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for him and his family and for all those who were at the rally." He then addressed the nation from Delaware, saying he plans to talk to former President Trump when he can.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it. Everybody.
The rally crowd in Pennsylvania dispersed quickly after the incident. Trump supporters described the chaos at the scene.
I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you. The guy had spun around and was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There was lots of blood, and he had brain matter.
I was about 5 feet away from him. Like, I was within, like, sight distance. Like, I was so close. And all of a sudden, I just hear these 4 shots, and everybody's screaming, "Drop!" And you can see the blood, like, splatter on his face, and the Secret Service just barricades him. And, you know, it was just, like, so scary.
I thought it was firecrackers. And I'm like, who would be shooting off firecrackers in here? Well, then somebody started yelling, "Hit the ground, hit the ground." And when I looked over, then I saw the smoke from the gunfire.
You can see how shaken up people were. Former President Donald Trump's presidential campaign confirms he will be attending the GOP convention in Milwaukee next week after surviving what's being investigated as an assassination attempt at a rally in Pennsylvania this evening. Kayla Gaskins joins us from Capitol Hill with what we know about the developing situation.
Donald Trump releasing a statement in the hours after the attack, saying he was shot by a bullet that pierced his upper ear. He also thanked the Secret Service for their action and gave condolences to the rally attendee who died. Trump's campaign confirmed the former president is fine and that he was checked out at a local medical facility. A political rally turned into a crime scene.
This is a big crowd. This is a big, beautiful crowd.
As the former president spoke to his supporters in Butler, Pennsylvania Saturday, gunshots ripped through the air. Donald Trump seen reaching for his ear before dropping to the ground. Secret Service immediately rushing the stage to surround him. Screams heard in the crowd. Go. Hot guys here. After a few tense moments, the former president on his feet. Blood spattered across his cheek and ear. Trump giving a fist bump as Secret Service whisked him away to the hospital. The Associated Press reporting the shooter is dead, along with one rally attendee. President Biden said he would be speaking to Trump and condemned the violence.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick.
Republican House Majority Leader Steve Scalise was shot in 2017 by a left-wing activist. On Saturday, Scalise writing, "For weeks, Democrat leaders have been fueling ludicrous hysteria that Donald Trump winning re-election would be the end of democracy in America. Clearly, we've seen far-left lunatics act on violent rhetoric in the past. This incendiary rhetoric must stop. We spoke with a Trump supporter who was 6 rows from the stage.
Just a sad day for America. Just a really sad day for America. The vibe was, it was open with prayer. People were united. This is America. This is freedom, regardless of your politics.
This rally was supposed to be a celebratory moment for Trump heading into the GOP convention in Milwaukee that starts Monday. The convention will no doubt have a very different feel with tighter security now on tap in the wake of Saturday's shooting. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Former President Donald Trump's Pennsylvania rally was in deep red territory. Butler County has nearly 140,000 registered voters. 57% are Republicans, roughly 28% are Democrats, with most of the rest being independent or other. And former President Barack Obama is condemning the shooting. In a statement on Twitter, he says, quote, "We should all be relieved that former President Trump wasn't seriously hurt," end quote. He's wishing Trump a speedy recovery and is calling for a return to, quote, civility and respect in politics. Former President George W. Bush also chiming in on the shooting. In a statement, he says he and his wife are grateful President Trump is safe. Bush goes on to call the shooting a cowardly act, and he commends the Secret Service for their quick response. We had the chance to speak to U.S. Representative Bill Huizenga tonight about the shooting. Here's what he had to say.
Obviously shocked and angry, like a lot of people. This has to stop. The political rhetoric that is getting thrown around by the left is creating a dangerous situation.
As a politician yourself, do you have any concerns for future campaigns, especially as the November election gets closer and closer? Plus, we do have U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris coming to the state in just a few days.
Well, and we have the Republican National Convention that's happening next week in Milwaukee. So we have gotten a notice that from the Sergeant at Arms of Capitol Hill Police that they are working with Secret Service. They don't have much information at this point, but they're going to be reevaluating all of the security for the convention. Obviously, it's unacceptable. Political violence is unacceptable, no matter who it is against. We solve our problems at the ballot box, not through violence. And that is got to be clear to all sides. Having said that, it is extremely frustrating seeing the summer of love, as it was called, the violence that had erupted in so many of our urban areas, and just the rhetoric that is surrounding this whole notion that somehow democracy is hanging in the balance of this election. It's seemingly causing people to be irrational. And we as politicians and we as people on the ballot, as well as citizens, have to just take the temperature down. Otherwise, we are assuming that this was an assassination attempt. Certainly has all the hallmarks of that. And had there been a small adjustment on that, we wouldn't be looking at a defiant Donald Trump. We might be looking at something far worse. And at that point, I don't know where America would be going right now. So it is incumbent upon all of my colleagues to make sure that we dial it down and take the temperature down.
I agree, and we're certainly noticing over time that as the temperature increases, so does violence and crime, and we definitely don't want to see this at the polls this coming November. And then just kind of touching on what you just kind of talked about, after learning that a person who attended today's rally in Pennsylvania died, just as a viewer, not a politician, how did that make you feel, especially after you mentioned that you were shown the video after the fact?
My heart goes out to all of those people who have been affected by this. And these are people who are going to a rally to hear something that they believe is going to be inspirational and that is going to rally them and charge them up. And to have something like this happen is just unconscionable.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer giving her reaction tonight as well, posting on X, quote, "There is no place for political violence in this country, period. This is not how we solve our differences. I am horrified to learn of this news, and we will be following the situation closely. I'm grateful for those in law enforcement who stepped in immediately." We will continue to follow this breaking news story as it develops. Now you can go ahead and download our News Channel 3 app to stay up to date on new developments. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen to download it. We'll also have the latest on News Channel 3 starting at 7 a.m. Vice President Kamala Harris is scheduled to travel to West Michigan next week. Campaign organizers say she'll be in Kalamazoo and Battle Creek on Wednesday. She'll be participating in a moderated conversation in Battle Creek with Republican women on Trump's opinions on reproductive freedom. Later, the vice president will energize campaign supporters at a Biden-Harris campaign block party right here in Kalamazoo. This will mark the vice president's 4th trip to Michigan this year. And now taking a live look here over downtown Kalamazoo, we saw a hot and sunny day today, but more storms are on the way. Meteorologist Jeff Porter is in the Weather Alert Center with a look at what's coming. Jeff?
Princess, good evening. We're watching thunderstorms right now in eastern Wisconsin. Get you over to live Doppler radar here in a moment. But first, we want to take you to Coldwater here on a Saturday night at Four Corners Park, where it is a sultry 74 degrees. We're under air quality alerts again on Sunday for elevated ozone. If you have pre-existing breathing issues, it's a day to be extra kind to yourself and spend extra time inside an air-conditioned environment. We're going to wake up with thunderstorms on Sunday. We're also watching for another round toward the end of the day. Here are the storms that we're following right now on live Doppler radar. There are a couple of warnings. This should continue to weaken upon arrival. It is right now 2.5 to about 3 hours and 40 minutes away from our lakeshore, motion southeast at, well, get this, 30 miles per hour. Additional thunderstorms arriving here Sunday night. Here's a quick look at them. Right now in Kalamazoo, it is rather steamy, 80 degrees, and temperatures across West Michigan, upper 70s to about 80. What time severe storms arrive Sunday and again on Monday? Princess will do that in about 6 minutes.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Jeff. And speaking of those thunderstorms that are coming, Consumer Energy is preparing their crews for tomorrow's thunderstorms. Crews from 13 other states, including as far away as Connecticut, Georgia, and Colorado, are joining Michigan contractors to be ready for a fast response. Consumers Energy encourages customers to be prepared with an emergency kit with items like flashlights, water, food, and blankets. And please have all of your electronics charged. Our Weather Alert Network is working to keep you weather aware. Download our Weather Alert Network app and track the rain from your phone. You can get push alerts, watch live radar, and forecasts from where you are. The app is free on your mobile device.